at Arsenal probably kicking himself in January that they didn't bring anyone in. Of course, you don't know you're going to get injuries. But I just think this Liverpool team can adapt. They've played the heavy metal football and then they go back to playing a low block and then can counter-attack. I think everything about this team is just sensational. It's finding a way to win. And at times I've watched Liverpool this season, I don't think they've been scintillating. I don't, but I think they've managed their moments really well. Daniel talked about the key players in the team. The spine is incredibly good and they hardly get injured. That is a main factor. Jamie talked about Liverpool before and Van Dijk, that season when they didn't compete, he was injured. But when you've got someone like that at the back, it makes a massive difference. You can just see the confidence oozing out of him. And we'll talk about Mo Salah a bit later.
The star men turn up every week.
Correct.
The star men turn up every week. That's what you need. And you obviously need a helping hand along the way. But the only thing we keep saying, we're looking at Arsenal and go, Arsenal needs to do better, but you need other teams to do better. You can't just keep looking at Arsenal to be them challengers. They've obviously come up short and maybe again missing that striker. But it's up to the other teams and some of the other top teams to start competing. I know we've been critical of Arsenal for slacking off recently, but you need one or two other teams to compete as well. It can't be just on Arsenal.
Daniel mentioned the word legacy when we were talking earlier about Mo Salah, but do you think there could be a theory that some of these senior players in this Liverpool dressing room, the likes of Alisson, Virgil van Dijk, Mo Salah, would want more than one league title to show for their efforts at Liverpool?
I've said this for the last few years. What Liverpool have done, or the quality players that they've got, and how good a team they've been, they haven't won enough. And I'm not criticising them really. It's just the competition's been so strong. And you look at Manchester City, arguably, 4 titles in a row, winning a treble, a domestic treble as well. Arguably the greatest sort of Premier League team we've seen, or certainly era, is Pep Guardiola, and that's what this Liverpool team have come up against. And when you actually look at what they've won, it isn't enough. Or maybe you could frame it a different way. They probably deserved a little bit more. I mean, they've lost, I think, at least 2 Champions League finals, lost the Premier League on the last day of the season twice as well, with sort of record numbers in terms of points. So, yeah, I think what Mo Salah said there as well, legacy-wise in terms of winning things, because you've got to think of the club that you play for. This is a club who's got as good a history as probably any club in world football. So you talk about putting these players up against, the goalkeeper up against Ray Clements, or Virgil van Dijk up against Alan Hansen. These guys have won 6, 7 titles.
Could this team do that, Jim? Do you think if he keeps some of the star men there, obviously recruitment at the end of summer, that they could try and win it for the next 2? They look at City and think City might need a year or 2 to rebuild themselves. Is that the challenge now for this team?
Yeah.
You win the league, kick on for the next 2 or 3 years.
You know that better than anybody about winning and going again. I do think Liverpool were a little bit unfortunate the year they won the league. Van Dijk gets the big injury, a cruciate, something like that's hard to sort of replace. But what I would say is an exciting thing for Liverpool is Slot didn't buy any. He hasn't bought anyone really. They brought Chiesa in at the last minute to try and maybe cover Salah if he was injured. Now, he's going to know this squad a lot better going into next season. And if I'm being honest, he only ever uses 14 or 15 players. There's probably 4 or 5 players he doesn't rate in the squad. I'm not being critical, but he's probably thinking, OK, now I know what this team needs. And even though this team's going to go on and win the league title, I still think there's 3 positions in this team that can be improved quite a bit. It's not about bringing 4 or 5 players in and squad players and improving the team or a certain area. What
positions would you say?
I think Liverpool could bring a left back in. I think they can bring a centre forward in. And an attacking midfield player who I'm talking about actually going into the team, in sort of 3 areas, and then maybe improve, certain areas of the squad as well. So that's pretty exciting, and you would imagine Liverpool would have money to spend, because, as I said, they haven't spent anything in the last couple of years.
He said this week, actually, I think, Arne Slot, that they know now which areas of the team they want to target in the summer, which is an exciting prospect for Liverpool when they could win it very comfortably this time round. Let's have a look at the last 11 games they face. And as I said, 7 of them, including the next 3, are at Anfield, which feels like a big advantage, doesn't it, in the run-in, when they need a maximum 26 points to see off Arsenal, who can still get to a maximum of 89. That's if they win all their remaining games. And I'm not sure if the team here would think that is possible or not. Liverpool can still get to 97. So 7 at home. Do you think it's going to be 4 or 5 games? Might the actual celebrations start before the end of the season? Before even Arsenal actually head to Anfield 3 weeks before the season's out?
I think they've got some tough games though. Everton, you know, those derby games, you never know what can happen in those types of games there. Fulham have been playing exceptional. Newcastle, they're playing against teams that, even though some of them are going to be fighting for European places, and then there's other teams in there that, when players are just playing free, and it's like, you know what, we've not really got much to play for outside of just showing ourselves and playing well. It goes the other way as well, in that at times those teams aren't necessarily, you know, at their best. But for me, they're going to win 7 or 8 of those games. If we're being real, they're going to win 7 or 8 of those games. The key is how they do it. You know, they don't have to win in the great way of scoring 4 or 5 or whatever. It's just great if it's a 1-0, it's a 1-0.
This is what we used to do at United when we were obviously with 10, 11, 12 games to go. The manager would remind players, particularly the strikers, you score 2 goals a game, now you win the league.
What was that mentality like when you're going for it, when you got that lead?
Obviously, listen, it's more exciting for the neutral if it's a bit tight, but for you in a dressing room and you're that much clear, it's fantastic. And you think you're 11, but a couple of days later you want to be further ahead. You just want to give that.
So are you sort of creating your own sort of paranoia that 11 is not enough?
Oh yeah, you have to have that. You have to have that. I suppose that you're a bit of tension in the dressing room. Say, listen, particularly if you start looking at stats, you think if you slip up now, you'd be a laughing stock. So you keep yourself. You're looking at the players there getting interviewed afterwards, and obviously they're probably low key a little about it. But in the dressing room, you know what a big result is. The manager knows, the opposition will know, but you still let them have to kick on. And
but did you tell the players that as a captain, when just keep your head out? What sort of environment?
Yeah, you would be reminding people. Yeah, but about being complacent and being on your toes. You'd have a good squad members. Obviously, the manager would do it. The senior players would do it. You make sure you don't slack off in training. Or you look at some of the fixtures there, for example, and you're thinking you're playing Southampton at home, but you treat Southampton like you're playing Real Madrid. You treat teams with respect. And if they carry on doing what they're doing, then they don't have to. Liverpool don't have to do anything extraordinary. Just do what they're doing. Be efficient. The 2 goals a game is a big one. It's a kind of simple message going. You get them, which you've been doing all season anyway. At least 2 goals a game. You're guaranteed to win the league.
I think when you're speaking, and I'm speaking, because you're speaking about the team that you support, you're always thinking, oh, I don't want to say that in case it comes back and haunt me. But if Man City were in that position or Arsenal in that position,
it's done.
It's done.
I've said that.
I know,
so come on, have a bit of conviction.
I do think it's done. And it's not just because of the league. My point being is, what you've got to remember is this Liverpool team have only really lost 1 game of any significance, which was Nottingham Forest. They lost in the Champions League in the dead rubber. They lost in an FA Cup when they changed the whole team. And they lost in a first leg against Tottenham, which was basically half-time. The tie wasn't over. So really, when you go through the season, this is a team who just don't lose games. And Arsenal, I think if Arsenal have got a fully fit team and Liverpool are fully fit, there's probably very little in it. If they played in a cup final, it's a toss of a coin. But with the injuries they've got, the players that they've had sent off, they've had a little bit of unfortunate times, at times their own fault, as yesterday was. But Arsenal aren't good enough. They've got Marino up front. He's a midfield player. You can't win the league with that. So I think, the lead and how good this Liverpool team has been, there's no one catching Liverpool.
We keep looking at teams, you go, oh, that's a tough game. Everton's going to be tough. This was tough today. But they turn up.
Yeah.
Yep, they just keep on trucking, don't they, and keep on winning. And talking of reminders, Manchester City are just reminding everyone here. If you just look behind you on the little screen there.
4 in a row,
Champions, that's right.
And you see the bench today. They've been stacked on the bench, but also they've stayed clear of injuries, and that you have to give credit to Arne Slot with his medical science people around him, because he trusts them and he listens to them. And, that's really helped them going forward. Everybody who comes on does, slots into the team, pardon the pun, seamlessly. Don't the Enzo's come on and done a great job, doesn't moan. There's no negativity that comes out of Liverpool. If you're not playing, nobody's moaning. They're just all in it together and they're all just rolling forwards. It's really nice to see.
Yeah, Arne Slot brought his director of medicine specifically with
yes,
him
he did,
from Holland. And it's interesting to hear Curtis saying the difference this season, to Jolien's question, is the trust. That, to be trusted in a game like that, away at the champions today, with Gakpo on the bench and Nunes and Jota on the bench.
Yeah, and with trust comes confidence. If you feel the trust of your manager, it gives you confidence. If you feel the trust of the fans and your fellow players, it gives you confidence. They give you the ball in tight situations because they trust you, because they see you on the training ground. So, the only way that's going to come is for you to show them your ability, your mentality every day in the training ground. And with that, then, it's reciprocated. And yeah, he's getting shown that trust, that confidence, and his game is blossoming for it.
And we've seen it with City and Phil Foden, what it means to a local boy, a fan of the club, to come through and become virtually a senior player.
Yeah, I think all of us are fans of football, and your ambition is to win titles, but to do it with your home grown team. It'll be extra special for him, and as I said, his family is very passionate about Liverpool as a city in general. But regarding this opportunity to go on and go down in one of the greatest seasons in their recent history, with the potential of Champions League as well. So, and like he said, it's important to him that he's playing a pivotal role, not just a bit part player this season. He can contribute in a number of roles.
Right, we've heard his version when you asked him of the corner routine. We've heard Szoboszlai and Mo Salah as well. Let's have another look at it.
Yeah.
What do we think? Where do we? Do you think Curtis Jones was involved in this?
Well, I can totally understand, because this is not an easy layoff from Szoboszlai. It's, coming at him quite quick, and obviously you've got to do these things fast. But I think the plan is for it to go to Mo Salah, but I can totally understand that in training he might have got a bit too much on the layoff, and it went to Curtis Jones. You can see Curtis Jones just by the referee there. So if the ball was a little bit straighter, if he got a little bit more on it, then he would have been there and striking it. But as it happens, he only got a little bit on it, didn't he? Yeah, it was perfect. And it just shaved across a couple of the Man City players. Rico Lewis nearly got it there, see. But I think that was absolutely planned. This is a great angle. You can see Robertson, the front post, pinning his man. The three players along the 6-yard box, pinning their man. It's really well worked.
Yeah, the timing of it is impeccable. The way that Virgil just walks in slow, and then they'll pick up the pace as soon as Alistair is running towards the ball. But I think Curtis is there more of a safety net. Like Mo said, if he overhits the cutback, he's there to tap it in, and his angle on the right foot would have been equally as important as Mo's with his left.
Yeah, covered both bases there, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because it was a hard layoff, isn't it?
It was, and it worked. I mean, you couldn't have worked it any better, could have you? Because Szoboszlai's touch was lovely. Mo didn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to. He's not leaning back. He gets over the ball. I mean, they get a bit of fortune with the deflection, but it worked perfectly well.
Yeah, and you heard him speaking there. He's hit 30 goals in all competitions, 5th time in his Liverpool career. I mean, you can appreciate those numbers. You can appreciate how difficult it is to get to those consistent numbers.
It's incredible. Consistency is unbelievable. I mean, what can you say about the lad? I mean, he's just a total machine. I mean, he never ever gets injured. He's got a great attitude. Never hear a peep out of him. Of course, obviously this contract situation is another thing, but in terms of playing, it's just been year after year after year a constant source of goals. You know that he's, send him out there and he's virtually going to score in every game. It is quite incredible, and we joke about it. It is the hardest thing in football to score goals, and to do it consistently like he does. It's beyond. There's only a handful of people that can ever do it, let alone can do it now. So yeah, hats off to him. It's quite incredible.
His dedication to his job as well is really important. People speak about Cristiano Ronaldo, how he looks after himself, and Cristiano's a bit more in the public eye, doesn't he? The Mo is very reserved, quiet and humble, and stays out of the limelight. But his dedication to the sport and how he looks after himself and what he eats and what he puts in his body and how he recovers is really important to Liverpool, because all the young lads are looking up to him, because he's an elder statesman now, him and Virgil, and they've got these people to look up to, and they could be playing at 37, 38, 39. So they're teaching everybody below them the right lessons, how to really do well in this sport.
Yeah, and he just needs one more goal, and he'll be in the top 3 of all-time Liverpool Football Club goal scorers. Now, our statistical department has been having a look at projected numbers here for Mo Salah this season. He's on 25 goals in the Premier League, projected to get 35, which would just be one short of Erling Haaland's record. Well, you can take the assists and the goal assists away from me, Michael. You're far more over that than I am. But he's on course, they think, to break the assists record, and indeed the assists and goals combined record.
Let's hope he doesn't get injured then, because that'll be worthless, won't it? But yeah, I mean, it
depends. It's going to depend on what stage of the season, and if they're in the Champions League, and if they already sewn up the league, do you then rest him?
Do you start resting him?
All the best trying to do that when he's going for all those records.
I think it's more important to him that he gets all the trophies than the personal accolades, especially if it's 35 goals and someone's done it. I think he would rather be fit for the Champions League and get 30 goals than risk being injured. So, as I said, they're a great opportunity for him to etch his history, his bit in history, but I'm sure he's focused on the trophies.
And when he signed, if you'd said Mo Salah's going to be in 8 seasons in the top 3 Liverpool all-time record goal scorers, I mean,
if you'd said in the top 103, I wouldn't have probably believed you. I mean, genuinely, he wasn't a goal. You know, he was a really poor finisher at Chelsea. You know, at Basel before he came.
Roma.
At Roma, he started showing signs of scoring goals, which was unbelievable. But I mean, you could argue that it might have been a flash in the pan. You know, for the cynics, they might have said, "Oh, I've seen him before. Doesn't really look like a goal scorer to me." So he did show signs, and then obviously hit the ground running. But even
Here, Curtis. Well, you can see the big smile. Well done. How good does that feel to go to the Etihad, the home of the champions, and win like that?
Feels amazing, yeah. As everybody knows, you know, we've always came here. It's always been hard, but and today was again, you know, it was a hard game. But yeah, we came out on top, so I'm happy with that.
And the way you got those goals in the first half.
Yeah, we always knew it was going to be a hard game and just going to have all the ball. But our plan was, you know, it was all about here. Of course, it was going to be hard, but any chance that we get, you know, we have to go and break and we have to go and score. And that's what that's what we've done.
Curtis, well played today. Just looking at that first goal, we were sort of discussing, was it you that was supposed to be on the end of that, or was it always meant for Mo Salah? We just heard an interview between Dominic Szoboszlai and Mo Salah, and they were joking whether it wasn't planned quite like that.
Nah, it was planned like that, but in training is like we basically done the same thing, but then Mo's touch was bad. So then it fell into me at the edge, and then I scored. So then I was telling Mo, I was like, Mo, look, just do the exact same thing. But yeah, I mean, fell to him there and he went and scored. So I'm happy. That's fine.
Brilliant.
And Curtis, it's Maka. So unfortunate for your goal. Did you have a feeling that Dominic may have been offside?
Yeah, just a touch, you know. That's why I weren't really going mad, or you didn't see a knee slide, anything like that. I was half just calm. But yeah, it's one of them things, you know. It's you know, it's important that it's all about the team. Yeah, it would have been nice if I had the goal, but it's fine. We still won.
Oh, you still made the run, mate. It was a great run. So you know, you were there just in case.
Because I'm playing as a 9, that's what I do.
Exactly. You're like the under-18s and the 21s. You're goal scoring now. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so, but at the same time, you know, I'd like to score even more and assist even more. But you know, it's one of them games that I didn't really have the ball a load, so it was more about I had to press right, I had to get back and help. And if I had the chance to score a goal, you know, I knew I was always going to be there at the end of it. And yeah, that's what I tried. But unfortunately, it was offside. But again, as I said, the important thing is that we came away with a huge win.
Curtis, when Liverpool won the Premier League title, I think you were involved 6 times that season. You were in and around the squad that was successful. This time you're a far more integral player. Did you get that similar feeling? Different manager, same dressing room?
Yeah, I mean, the feeling that is all the same. But on the personal point, yeah, I'm just happy that I've helped more. Of course, you know, I'm a lad who wants to be involved in all sorts. You know, I want to help with goals, I want to help with assists, I want to play all the games. You know, it's a cup games, the Champions League games. You know, it's the Prem game as well. And the first time that we won, of course, you know, I was glad, but I didn't feel that I played a huge part. Now, you know, I'm involved even more and playing more games. You know, I've helped with goals and assists, so that's the important thing, I think.
Curtis, it's Julian. I see you obviously enjoying your football this season. What's been the biggest factor for that change in previous years?
I think the biggest thing is trust, you know. Trust. You see the games here that you know that I've played. I don't play as a 9, but he's used me there as a 9 ball, a 9.5, a 10 kinda. Yeah, and that just shows the trust. He sees me train every day. You know, of course, fans always want all the goals and all the assists, but unfortunately, I'm around lads who take all the goals and the assists, which is fine as well. But you know, I'm a big part of the team. You know, helping in different ways. You know, I'm comfy on the ball. That's being a big finger man. So it's about just using that in the right way, and then having the trust of the manager and the rest, and then the rest of his staff, and of course then the lads as well around. You know, they speak to me now as being more of a man and not a kid around the team. So yeah, as I said there, I think it's all about the trust.
And just finally, Curtis, what a weekend. Arsenal losing yesterday, you winning at the Etihad today, and you're finishing it 11 points clear at the top of the table.
Yeah, it's a great week, but it's just these games as it comes. We just have to win all of our games, and then we'll be fine. If teams around us drop points and lose games and draw, then that's with them. But our thought and our mind is just win every single game. We go out there, we run. We don't think, we've kind of got games spared, and we've got points to play with. It's never that. It's just each game as it comes. We just take care of it. That is hold the team. At the end of the game, there, Virgil just spoke as well and just basically said the same thing. It's just each game as it comes, and just make sure that we win all of our games, then we'll be fine. So every game as it comes, and you'll see at the end of the season.
Certainly will. Very well played today. Thanks again for joining us.
Take care.
Congratulations.
Well done, Curtis Jones, live at the Etihad. Speaking very well, and you were mentioning, joking there, he's under 18. You've seen his come through the... A lot was made about Liverpool not making many signings, but he's almost like a new signing. The regularity he's been featuring under Arne Slot, perhaps compared to the last couple of years under Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, people get obsessed with new signings, don't they? It's like we need to buy more players, but I think the coaching staff and Arne Slot, and certainly the sporting directors and everybody concerned at Liverpool, involved at Liverpool, knew they didn't need much. They didn't need much. They knew that Gravenberch was a year older at Liverpool. Gakpo was the same. Endo was the same. So they knew they were getting better. And then you've got Curtis and Harvey Elliott, who have been on the periphery but are now older, more wise, more experienced, and can do a great job. So it's actually very clever. You don't need to bulk up a squad when...
موعد مباراة ليفربول ومانشستر سيتي تقام اليوم الأحد 23 فبراير 2025 مباراة من العيار الثقيل بين ليفربول ومانشستر سيتي ضمن منافسات الجولة 26 من الدوري الإنجليزي الممتاز لموسم 2024-2025. ستنطلق المباراة في تمام الساعة 6 مساء بتوقيت القاهرة، أي 7:30 مساء بتوقيت مكة المكرمة، على ملعب الاتحاد في مدينة مانشستر. تعد هذه المواجهة واحدة من أبرز قمم الموسم، حيث تلقى مانشستر سيتي حامل اللقب في الموسم الأخير مع ليفربول الذي يتصدر ترتيب الدوري حاليا بفارق نقاط. تأتي المباراة ليست مجرد صراع على النقاط، بل تحمل طابعا خاصا مع مواجهة النجمين المصريين محمد صلاح لاعب ليفربول وعمر مرموش لاعب مانشستر سيتي الجديد، مما يضيف بعدا إضافيا من الإثارة للجماهير العربية. بتعليق المعلق الرياضي علي سعيد الكعبي ليتيح العشاق على قناة بين سبورت HD1، ستنقل المباراة مباشرة على قناة بين سبورت HD1. لا تنسوا الاشتراك في القناة وتفعيل زر الجرس، والسلام عليكم.